Well, the Boston Celtics are certainly not the Orlando Magic. Not an ideal start in the Eastern Conference semifinals for your Cleveland Cavaliers. We're going to break down what was a disappointing Game 1 loss coming up right now on the Ultimate Cavaliers Show. Game 1 is in the books, and unlike Game 7 against the Orlando Magic, the Cleveland Cavaliers were unable to erase a 10-point deficit to beat the Boston Celtics. In Game 1, the Celtics take the first of the series, 120-95. It is a 25-point loss for your Cleveland Cavaliers, who continued to struggle in certain aspects of the game that matter most. And big picture, we'll talk about the big picture. They did a few good things tonight. They also learned very quickly the Celtics are not the Magic, and you can't go through scoring droughts of significant time in the second quarter. The Cavs went 5 straight minutes without a point, and that essentially negated any chance for the Cavs to have a comeback effort tonight. Boston made a ton of tough shots. They scored 120, and Jayson Tatum played like ass. Tatum for the night finished the game with just 18 points. He was 7-12 from the floor, 0-5 from 3. This was the game the Cavs needed to kind of steal because of how Jayson Tatum played, but in the end, the firepower for the Celtics, too much for the Cavs. I want to start out by pointing out a couple positives from tonight, and then we'll focus on some of the negatives because there are more negatives than positives in a 25-point loss. But from a big picture standpoint, I want to start with this. One game is not a series. And yes, most people pick the Celtics to win the series. Of the 16 ESPN experts, all 16 picked the Celtics to advance past the Cavs. So this should not come as a surprise that the Cavaliers lost Game 1. I think we all on the show today also picked the Celtics to beat the Cavs. The line was 12.5. Boston doubled that, winning by 25. One game does not make the series. There are adjustments that will be made, you would hope. There are shooting performances that should be better moving forward, you would hope. You would hope Derrick White and Jaylen Brown don't continue to shoot the lights out like they did tonight. You would hope the Cavs bench shows up in a much better fashion than it did through 3 quarters. You would hope Darius Garland and Evan Mobley show up in a bigger fashion they did. But one game is not the series. So we're not going to completely overreact to one game. Being down 1-0 is what we expected. It is not the end of the world. You lose Game 2 on Thursday night, then we can start looking at some big picture, major overreactions. But for one game, we're not going to get too crazy. It was a bad loss. Do not get me wrong. It was a bad loss. The Cavs need to play better. Absolutely. But it's one game. They still need to win 3 more, they being Boston, before they eliminate the Cavs. So we're going to focus on some of the good things they did that can translate later in the series. Then we're going to talk about the bad things they did tonight. There was plenty of them, and why this turned into a blowout loss for the Cleveland Cavaliers. First and foremost, on the good side, the Cavs shot 42 threes. Jason and I disagreed on this. John Corrales, who came on our show today, he's the Celtics beat reporter for Locked On Celtics. He covers the team for the Boston Sports Journal. Agreed with me that the Cavs need to shoot threes in order to beat the Celtics. They went 11 of 42 from 3 tonight. That's not a good enough percentage, but you saw the Celtics offense and the firepower that Boston has. To be able to score with the Celtics, you need to make threes at a crazy clip. In Game 2, when the Heat beat the Celtics, they made a franchise postseason record 25 threes. With how many weapons Boston has on offense, the Cavs are going to need multiple players to shoot the ball well on the same night. And I'm not talking 2 like they got tonight. I'm talking 3, 4, 5 guys, all to have hot nights from 3 to be able to keep up with the firepower Boston has. They took 42 threes. They took 16 in Game 7 against the Magic. That was an unacceptable number against an offensive team the caliber of the Boston Celtics. So I like the fact they took 42 threes. They took 13 free throws. Boston took 14. Boston had 11 in the first quarter. They had 3 the rest of the game. They were as aggressive in terms of the free throw statistic. From a turnover standpoint, the Cavs only had 5 turnovers. The Cavs had 5 turnovers, guys. It's a great number. But they only scored 95 points. That doesn't add up. You take 42 threes, you have 5 turnovers, you score 95 points. That comes down to needing players to hit shots at a higher clip than they did tonight. Evan Mobley finished with 17 points. He was 8-12 from the floor, Almost all of that came when the game was in garbage time. He was not nearly aggressive enough in the first half when he was being guarded by Luke Kornett and Al Horford. They were on multiple occasions. Evan Mobley got the ball within 5 feet of the bucket with either Luke Kornett or Al Horford on his back, and he passed it out. And the Cavs need, and I cannot emphasize this enough, the Cavs need Evan Mobley to be significantly more aggressive and make Boston pay for putting Al Horford or Luke Kornett on him that close to the bucket. No disrespect to those guys. Luke Kornett played awesome tonight. Al Horford has had a very successful NBA career. But Evan Mobley was the 3rd overall pick 3 years ago, a guy who we think has, and not all of us, but some of us think, and the Cavs touted him out as a guy that had immense offensive potential. When you're that close to the damn bucket, Evan, put up a damn shot. I understand your unselfishness, your willingness to turn down a good shot for a better shot. But you ain't going to get many better shots than a 6'11" guy with your athleticism shooting the ball from 5 feet away from the bucket. The Cavs need him to be more aggressive. They need Darius Garland to be more aggressive. He was 6 of 15 from the floor, 2 of 8 from 3, 5 assists, no turnovers. Those numbers in a vacuum look good, but there were stretches of the game where Darius needed to be more aggressive. To start the second quarter when Donovan was on the bench, the Cavs went in a 7-0 hole immediately, 2 minutes before JB had to put Donovan back in because the Cavs didn't generate a single good look during that stretch. It's not even the shot attempts for Darius. It's his willingness to get to the bucket, to try and drive, to try and create for others. And there are just too many stretches where Darius seems to be content just playing on the perimeter, not probing the defense enough, not making them react and switch and collapse and then kick out the shooters in the corner. Donovan was Donovan again, guys. He was fantastic. 33 points, 46% field goal shooting, 12 of 25, 4 of 11 from 3, 5 of 5 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. At the end of the third quarter, Donovan had 33 points. The other 10 guys who played had 44. The other guys who played had 11 more points combined than Donovan had at the end of the third. It's not enough. Donovan can only be so heroic, and he can only be so much of a superhero. This guy's a human being, reminder. And he's going up against really good defenders in Derrick White, Jrue Holiday, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown. The Celtics can throw a bunch of guys at him, and he still finds ways to score. His body control is incredible. His shot making, top tier. Like, he is an incredible offensive player, and he was willing the Cavs, and I mean willing the Cavs, to stay competitive in this game. It was really a 10, 12-point game for most of the contest. It got close in the first quarter. Then at halftime, it was a 10-point game. And in the third quarter, it was like a 15-point game because Pritchard hit that back-breaking 3 to end the quarter after Donovan took a bad shot on the other end of the court. But Donovan did everything in his power to keep the Cavs in this, and no one else stepped up to the capabilities that the Cavs need to beat and outscore a Boston Celtics team that gets contributions from so many guys. Just listen to the Boston box score real quick. I'm not even going to put names next to it. Their starting lineup, 18 points, 7 points, 14 points, 25, 32. Off the bench, 2, 4, 2, 16, 2. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in double figures. 5 guys in double figures. The Cavs had 4, but Okoro had 11. The Cavs had 1 guy over 17 points. The Celtics had 3, and Peyton Pritchard had 16 off the bench. Shout out to Isaac Okoro, by the way. He had 3 threes in the game itself. He had 4 threes all of last series. To see him step up and take those shots was encouraging. They need him to shoot and make those shots if they want to have a chance in this series. But from an overall offensive standpoint, big picture, let's look big picture. The Cavs have to work so hard to get open shots. So hard. Whether it's Donovan navigating through a defense off a pick and roll, whether they're running 4 and 5 different motions to get a guy an open look off a pin down, which doesn't happen a lot. It's mostly Donovan. Whether it's DG doing something, whatever the Cavs are trying to do, they seem to be working so hard to generate an open look. And when you flip the end of the court and you go down on defense and Boston's on offense, how many easy open looks was Boston getting? I mean, it felt like every time down the court they were getting a pretty damn good look, and they were making threes at a crazy rate. Derrick White, I swear he might be Steph Curry in a bald cap. He played out of his freaking mind tonight. He was 4-6. He was 7 of 12 from 3, He had 25 points. He was incredible. Jaylen Brown was incredible. 12 of 18, 4 of 6 from 3, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. Those two combined for 57 points. And I'll say it again, Jayson Tatum didn't play well. They scored 120 and their best player didn't play well. It's like the Cavs scoring 120 if Donovan doesn't contribute to the level we're accustomed to him contributing to. It's unfathomable for the Cavs based on the offensive talent they have surrounded Donovan Mitchell with, but it's par for the course with the Boston Celtics. Tatum finished with 18, 11, and 5. Like, it's and 3 blocks. Decent stat line, but he shot poor. I said this before the show today. We talked about it a little bit. They started Isaac Okoro at the 4. They put Evan at the 5. Evan was guarding Horford to start. And when it's just Mobley in the game, when it's just Mobley as the only true big, Boston had driving lanes galore. There was almost no resistance from the perimeter guys to slow down the Browns and the Tatums and the Holidays and the Whites from getting to the bucket and getting to the rim and getting good shot attempts. And Mobley, as good of a defensive player as he is, when he's out in the corner, relegated by guarding Al Horford, who I guess you could leave wide open if you really want to, but that's a sacrifice the Cavs weren't willing to make. There were just too many easy looks at the rim for the Celtics tonight. And it adds up. And when they're giving up open looks like that, and not even open looks, but easy enough drives where there's not a real rim protector deterring the Celtics from driving, it puts that much more of an onus on your offense to score. And I don't know who you feel comfortable with right now operating that offense other than Donovan Mitchell. No one does it consistently enough. And it's crazy because at the end of the day, you look at the team stats. Both teams had 42 points in the paint tonight. Both teams, the Celtics and the Cavs, both had 42 points in the paint. It sure as hell doesn't feel like the Cavs had as many shots at the rim and as many driving layups as Boston did. I'm not saying ESPN's wrong. I'm just saying that doesn't sound right. That doesn't feel right. The Cavs ended up losing the 3-point battle by 7. They were up by 2 at the half. They got cold in the second half. And they had 2 quarters this game. They had 15 points in the second quarter. They had 18 points in the fourth quarter. I'm not going to hold the fourth quarter against them to the same capacity. They waved the white flag with 5 minutes left. They took out the starters. So that gets a little bit of a pass. But you're not going to beat the Celtics scoring 15 points in a quarter. You're not. This Celtics team is too talented. They have too many weapons, too many scores across the board. And on any given night, any one of these guys can get hot. It was Derrick White and Jaylen Brown in game 1. It could be Jrue Holiday and Jayson Tatum in game 2. Might be Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard in game 3. They have weapons out the wazoo. A couple other things that frustrated me tonight. Sam Merrill played 17 minutes. 0 for 5 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3. Not a good Sam Merrill game. Not at all. I'll come back to him in one sec. Karis LeVert, who played great in game 7. Who's ass tonight. Wasn't good. Not enough. 2 for 6, 0 for 2 from 3. Minus 19 in 26 minutes. He had 4 points. Tristan Thompson got a couple minutes. Marcus Morris played a couple minutes. Morris hit 1 3. That was a big 3 to end the first quarter. He didn't score after that. Tristan Thompson had 2 buckets. But when you look at the totality of this Cavaliers bench, you got 4 points from LeVert. All of Thompson's points came in garbage time. All of Niang's points came in garbage time. You got 3 points from Marcus Morris. You got 7 real bench points in this game when Merrill played 17 minutes, LeVert played 26 minutes, and Morris played 9. That's 52 minutes from your bench. You got 7 points. That's not enough. You need more. And those stretches when Donovan's not on the court. It happened to start the second quarter. It happened to start the fourth quarter. The Cavs got obliterated. And in a game against a team of the caliber of the Celtics, you can't have those stretches where you go scoreless or you lose 10-2. Because when Donovan's on the court, you're just hoping to hold serve. And we did the draft today. 4 of the 5 best players in the series we all thought were on the Celtics. There's a serious talent disadvantage in the Cavs' favor, which puts a bigger onus on them to play as well as they humanly can and shoot better. They protected the ball well. They had 31 rebounds in the game. The Celtics had 40. I take that back. The Cavs had 38 rebounds in the game. The Celtics had 55. They got out-rebounded by 17. It's little things like that that cannot happen. Jared Allen, they found a way to beat Orlando without him. I think the Cavs desperately need Jared Allen in this series to come back. Who knows if he can? Who knows if he will? If he does, when that'll be, I have no idea. We said it on the show today. He's struggling to breathe. It hurts to breathe. If he can't breathe without pain, how could he play without pain? And we're not talking about like Oh, my arm hurt. Talking about like excruciating pain. It's uncomfortable to sit. If he's out there, I know the Celtics will attack the ribs, but my, oh my, do they need a second big to help with the rebounding. You look across the board. So Mobley and Horford, let's just cancel them out size-wise. Both about 6'10". Okoro was guarding Jayson Tatum. Tatum's got 4 inches on him. You had Jrue on Jaylen Brown. Brown's got 3 inches on him. Derrick White and Jrue Holiday are both 6'4" and 6'5". They both outsize Garland and Mitchell. Across the board, the wings and the guards of Boston are just supersized compared to the undersized backcourt and undersized frontcourt of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And partially, that is what leads to a 17 rebound disadvantage in the game. The Celtics had 22 assists, 6 turnovers. It's a damn good ratio. Cavs had 19 and 5. Damn good ratio. But at the end of the day, when you look at this game from a big picture standpoint, the Cavs just didn't score enough. And outside of Donovan, and I'll say it again, we said it against Orlando, I'll say it again, they need either Darius or Evan, preferably both, to play at an all-star level from the start of this series to the end of the series if this team's going to have any chance to win. And tonight, neither did. And you can look at their final box scores. The numbers at the end look better than they actually played, especially for Mobley, who had a bunch of his points late in the contest, similar to how he had in Game 7 against Orlando. He can't wait till they're down 20 to put up these points. Hopefully he can carry the aggression he showed late in the third, early in the fourth, in Game 1 into Game 2. Darius needs to make his first shot. I'm not sure I've ever seen a player waver in confidence as frequently and as consistently as DG wavers in confidence. He hits that 3 end of the game against Orlando, right? Donovan goes over, gives him the hug. He goes crazy. The crowd absolutely erupts inside the field house. He talks about it. Hey, I needed that. I needed that for my mentals. And he comes out tonight, he misses his first couple shots, and next thing you know, he just seems kind of out of it. And I understand he's going through stuff with his family. I understand he's had the season from hell, but this is the playoffs. Everyone's going through shit at this time. It's not an excuse. It's put up or shut up time in the playoffs. We give you an excuse in the regular season, but when the playoffs come around, none of that stuff matters. Everyone's going through their own stuff in the playoffs. The Cavs need, and I'll emphasize it over time, need more from Darius and Evan and Max and Isaac and Karis and Sam and Marcus. They need more from everyone not named Donovan Mitchell to have a chance to compete in the series. I don't know how else to say it. If you get what you got tonight from Donovan Mitchell, that's enough. 33 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, about 50% from the floor on one leg. You can take that and you can live and you can go to the bank, cash that in every night of the week with Donovan Mitchell. But no one else delivered. Hell, Mobley's stat line, if you want to look at it in a box score, 17 points, 13 rebounds, 1 block. He was a minus 21. That's the worst on the team. Minus 21, Mobley. When he was on the court, Cavs got outscored by 21. All his production came too late. I'm sorry. It did. Okoro made those 3 threes in the first half. Nothing in the second. Garland, 2 of 8 from 3. Strus, 1 of 5. Strus, man. Cavs paid a lot of money this offseason for Max Strus. And I think he does a lot more than just shoot, but my goodness, they need some more offensive production from their $64 million offseason acquisition. Just not enough. Not enough. And we can talk about Boston real quick. We know they're really good. Best team in the league by far in the regular season. 37-4 at home during the regular season. Tatum's an MVP candidate. He'll make first team All-NBA this season. Jaylen Brown's going to be, he's the highest paid player in the NBA. He won't be after this offseason, but right now he is. He had 32 points. Derrick White was incredible against Miami. He stayed red hot tonight. Bald Steph Curry. Jrue Holiday with his defense. He made 6 shots. I mean, they're deep, guys. And John Corrales on the show today said, I'm not sure the Cavs can score 100 on Boston, and I'm not sure the Cavs can stop Boston from scoring 110. Well, for one game, John's spot on because the Cavs lost 120-95. And at halftime, last thing, then I'll read some comments here. The Cavs felt like for most of the game, they should have been down by more. But when you looked at the score, it was actually, for the most part, a 10, 12, 14-point game. They never got it closer than that, but until the end, Boston never fully extended the lead. And you just kept feeling it, kept waiting for the Cavs to go on a little 5-0 run, just a little 5-0 run to make Boston sweat. and we talked about it before the game started today. We'll talk about it again throughout the rest of the series. Boston really hasn't been tested that much this year. And you could get them late in games when they are feeling the pressure. We saw it when they played Cleveland, when Dean Wade had that incredible fourth quarter. Their offense late in games goes super ISO heavy, and that's when they're easy to stop. Or easier to stop is a better way to put it. They're not easy. They're at their best when they're driving, kicking, forcing the defense into rotations, and then attacking closeouts, forcing a second rotation and dumping it off again. That's when they're at their best. That's when, frankly, I think their offense is unstoppable because they have so many different playmakers on the perimeter that you have to worry about, not just as shooters, but as drivers, and that's what the Cavs lack. But the Cavs could never make the Celtics sweat tonight. Never felt like they really felt the pressure of a playoff game. The crowd never even really got into it. And that's what's disappointing because the Cavs were in striking distance for about 20, 24 minutes and were never able to actually take that step from being, oh, this is competitive to, oh, shit, we got ourselves a game. And they were that close. At a couple different occasions, they were that close. But they were never able to cross the threshold of competitive to we got ourselves a ball game. And I think when we look back at the end of the series, the fact that they were never able to make that step and make that jump is going to come back to bite them in the ass. I want to look at my notes one more time, then I see we got over 300 comments, so I'll do my best to get a couple in there. A couple notes I bolded for myself. I mentioned it earlier, no rim protection if it's just Mobley out there. So many lanes for Boston's drivers, and they're really good finishers. They're 6'7", 6'8". They're good finishers. That three at the end of the third quarter from Pritchard felt like a backbreaker. It came right after a Donovan Mitchell floater with 30 seconds left. That was an incredible shot. Cut it to 12. That was what I was talking about a second ago. Pritchard comes down, hits a three, and then next thing you know, 12 goes to 15. That felt like the backbreaker. Dagger was the Horford three in the corner to put him up 20. Sam Merrill, I mentioned him earlier. I want to say this again. If he's on the court and Donovan Mitchell's not on the court, I don't think the Cavs are utilizing him to his full potential. I said it earlier. I'll say it again. The way Donovan bends the defense and the way the defense has to focus in on Donovan to corral his drives, that's when Sam is at his best, is when he can operate in the extra space that Donovan creates. If he's out there without Donovan, then you better be running plays for him on offense, or there's no point in having him out there. And I thought JB Bickerstaff missed a pivotal opportunity to start the third quarter with Donovan on the bench and Sam Merrill in the game with Darius Garland to run a play out of a timeout, out of the quarter break, to try and get Sam Merrill a good look. They didn't. And next thing you know, a 15-point lead turned to a 23-point lead. I didn't like that. I thought they pulled Mitchell a little late. I understand trying to keep him in to see if you go on a run. I would have pulled him a little sooner. This is going to be a dogfight of a series. They're going to need Mitchell to be at his absolute best to have any chance to win. So once this one was out of hand, I would have pulled him, let him rest, save the legs. Like I said, Mobley got aggressive late. We just need that earlier. Evan, you have it in you. We see it in spurts and in flashes, but it has to start before you're down 20 points that late in the game. The Cavs need more from you. Point blank period. They need more from you. And we look at you, and I don't mean to be, I don't mean to come across as mean or trying to degrade Evan, but we know what you can do. Just do it. And same with DG. We know what you're capable of. You just have to do it more consistently. And you can't wait till the very end to start doing it. It's one game in the books. Game 2 is on Thursday. If the Cavs go down 0-2 in this series, I'm not going to say it's over, but I'm going to say it's OVE. And we'll put the R on the end of that after game 4. They're going to have to find some adjustments. They're going to have to find a way to slow down Boston's drivers. They're going to have to find a way to make some more shots and generate some better looks from 3. But overall, there are a few positives to take away from tonight's Cavs performance, but a lot more negatives. And I think it's a reality check after beating Orlando that the Cavs and the questions we had about the Cavs heading into the playoffs still need to be answered. I'm not quite sure beating Orlando answered the questions we needed to before we enter the offseason. All right, let's read some comments here. Try to get a couple of these in here. Appreciate the hundreds of people who are in here. So let's try and get there. I'll start with the super chats here. Chris says, JB needs to be fired. We pay too much for talent, have too much talent to lose games away this bad at away games. Yet JB's never won a road playoff game. That's a fact. And that's a tough stat to overcome when you're looking at his future. I'll just leave it at that. Barber FN says, do you think the Celtics will shoot tonight like they did all series. So I saw this on Twitter. I want to confirm my numbers real quick. The Celtics tonight finished shooting 39.1% from the floor. I'm looking up a stat real quick. They finished shooting 39% from three. During the regular season, as a team, and I'm looking this up right now, so bear with me. But as a team during the regular season, the Boston Celtics shot 38.8% from three. So they essentially shot tonight exactly the percentage they shot from the field during the regular season. So yeah, unfortunately, Barber FN, I do think it's possible the Celtics shoot like they did all night. Jayson Tatum shot bad. Derrick White shot out of his mind. Maybe he doesn't shoot as well, but as a team, they were right on their season average. It was not an aberration for them to shoot as well as they did tonight. So yeah, I unfortunately think that is certainly possible. Let's see. Lamar Spencer says we need Dean Wade. Yeah, we do. Absolutely. He has the size and the shooting ability to at least give the Cavs another option on the perimeter. At least. Anthony Kuhn says, if I'm the head coach, what's my game plan? I'll assume this was for game 2. I said it earlier. The Cavs need easy buckets. They have to be able to score and generate more open looks. So I am running. As soon as I get a rebound on defense, we are pushing the pace. We are running. We are running. We are running. You saw Donovan have success with that in the first half. I'm getting the ball up out of the rebounder hands, find a guard in an outlet position, run, and try and see if you can get easy buckets. If you don't score in transition, pull it back, set up your offense, and then try and then run your set or whatever you want to do offensively. But the Cavs need to find ways to create easier buckets, similar to how Boston did. They just don't have the drivers Boston does. So how do you do that? If you don't have the players who can do that in a half-court set, get your ass out in transition and run and shoot 45 threes. Let's see. Bailey says Donovan's the only one who scores. Yes. The real RMP says too many three-point shooters. Cleveland needs more from Strus and LeVert. That is a fact. They need more from everybody, not just those two. Let's see. It's going to be tough. This is tough. John says, this whole scenario looks awfully familiar. LeBron carrying the team. Isn't it funny how when LeBron was here, it was always LeBron needs more help. It can't just be LeBron. And somehow we have gone through, what's it been now? He left 4 or 5 years, and we're back to the exact same spot they were 5 years ago. Even though on paper, it doesn't say that. The reality is, through this playoffs, we have seen who they are when it matters most. Let's see. I think he's talking about Mobley in the post here. Pump fake it 5 times. He's got to be more aggressive. There was a possession in the first half where they got a switch. And it was Derrick White on Evan Mobley. If you go back to game 1 of the Magic series, when they got the switch and Orlando switched that pick and roll, and he had Cole Anthony on him. On back-to-back possessions, he had the spin dunk. Then he had a little hook shot in the paint. Well, with Derrick White on him, and Derrick White's a little bigger than Cole Anthony, he got his shot blocked from behind by Jayson Tatum, and it was not the offensive post move that you would want to see. G. Bush in the chat. Just face it, Garland and Mobley ain't that good. We don't have to keep trying to analyze it. They have played like dog crap this postseason. That's fact. No, I don't think anyone's trying to argue that. No one's trying to argue that. Let's see. Felonious Monk says they have no game plan. I wonder if in the first game of the series, JB and the coaching staff decided Let's see how Boston plays us, and we'll adjust. And if that's the case, I have an issue with that. But I'm not quite sure what their offensive strategy was tonight. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. Like, it wasn't good enough. Let's see. I love the fact that you guys are in the chat. I really do. I appreciate all you guys. And I wish I could read all of these, but we'd be here till 4 a.m. trying to read all these. So I'm just trying to get a couple that haven't been. Felonius says, Evan's a 3 playing out of position. If you're a 3, you got to shoot threes. If you're a 3, you got to shoot threes. That is not who Evan Mobley is. Evan Mobley's a 5. Evan Mobley's a 5. That's it. Let's see. G, I'm wrapping up in 1 sec here. I just saw your thing say to send a link. I'm wrapping up in 1 sec. I bet you sent that 20 minutes ago. I already went 2 minutes over where I was supposed to go. All right. Well, there's like 200 more, and I'm already over. So I'm going to let this go. Appreciate y'all tuning in. The adjustment for game 2, run. You ain't stopping this. You're not stopping this offense. You got to outscore them. And I am not sure if they have the firepower to do that. I don't think so. They have to make a lot of threes. Make a lot of threes, get out in transition, and pray the Celtics have an off shooting night. But other than that, it's a tough matchup, and all the people chanting, we want Boston. Careful what you wish for. I'll end it at that. G's on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show tomorrow. We will spend plenty of time. We got one more super chat. Remember 2018, they lost both away, 1-7. 2017 is a lot different team than this year. I'll leave it at that. 2017 is a lot different team than the current iteration of the Cavs. All right, well, that's all the time we got. We'll see you on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show tomorrow. G. Bush, Bull, myself will break down the game. We got the Miz on the show tomorrow, and we'll talk about some adjustments the teams can try and make for game 2. For now, McNuggets, peace.